Hey everybody, my name is Gio Perez and welcome to another episode of MMA Talk, and I'm here with Steven Reich, and we're going to be discussing a video about an MMA fighter fighting other martial artists out there. And then we're just going to be talking about it, discussing why, it went the way it went. So let me show you that video right now. So the guy's wearing a traditional Tai Chi Chinese uniform, versus the other guy is wearing, I guess, what American MMA is. Just
right.
Tai
is
Chi.
this Tai Chi? That's the style the other guy has?
Tai Chi, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, MMA versus Tai Chi in China. This is a Tai Chi master. Now this guy right here on the left, he's been trying to prove that MMA is much superior than the traditional martial arts in China.
Yeah, I recognize him. He does this a lot.
Yeah.
Man, the MMA guy looks pumped.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
The Tai Chi guy's very calm.
Right.
I think he should be nervous, though.
All right. They're ready for it. I don't know what they're saying, but it's probably saying we'll get you.
Damn it.
Look at that traditional stance. Hand outside.
Oof.
And that's it.
That's it. Yeah, it doesn't go any further, does it?
That's it. Pretty much another minute of it, but let's see this.
He's just wiping his face for that minute. I don't think he goes back.
Yeah. You never know if he got his nose broken or anything. But those are, they're fighting bare knuckle. There's no gloves, no nothing. So he's feeling those punches.
Yeah. It's almost like he expected a different kind of fight.
Right. Because, when you're practicing, let's say, a certain style, you get lazy because you just keep practicing with other people that practice the same art. So you don't get used to seeing other martial artists and the way they practice. So, for example, let's say if they would be open to be able to practice other martial artists, like Muay Thai and even getting some MMA concepts or Jeet Kune Do concepts, I mean, they could do way better than the traditional art itself. But they're relying too much on traditional style, something that was practiced and developed, many years ago. So,
well, they're working around a structured fight scenario.
Yes.
And that's not what this was. This was a random fight scenario.
Right.
So, it's a whole different world. I mean, it's kind of like, in Aikido, everybody kind of gives them their hand and then they do a technique.
Right.
I mean, I think it looked like he was just waiting to set that up. And when it was not at all that kind of exchange, it was over. Basically at that point.
Well, you just set him up. I mean, the guy's waiting with his hand extended out, extended out all the way. He's just waiting. The other guy's just, keeping his hands tight. All he did is, did a fake left. He blocked and he came in with that right. Yeah, so it's easy to be able to perform something very simple, but the other martial artist doesn't. They don't practice that. They don't see that coming
Right.
because they haven't. They don't have that practicality in training with another fighter of that guy's style.
Right. I mean, you can almost tell just by the dress he wore to the fight compared to the dress the other guy. The other guy wore light, very functional attire for the fight, and he's
Right.
very traditional, like it's a demonstration.
Right.
And I mean, he demonstrated that he has never really fought in a real. I mean, look, boxers. I mean, there's always that feel the opponent out point at the beginning of every
Right.
fight. I mean, there was none of that. It was
No,
like
he just
he
went
just
for it.
wanted he
Yeah.
just wanted to set up a technique and I will do my, and it'll
That's
work out exactly the way it does in class.
right. But yeah, and you're how can I say you're doing your techniques to be able to be able to come in front of that guy. Get those techniques faster in. And you're using everything that he's using for your own benefit. If his hands are out, his clothing is loose. If he wanted to, he didn't even have to box him. He could just grapple him, use his own, shirt to be able to choke him. Do so many other techniques because just the way he's dressed. So when you see the MMA, he has his tight shirt, so they're not able to grab it as easy.
Right.
He's got more mobility because of his shorts. Pants don't give you that same mobility like when you're wearing shorts.
And he wanted to aggressively smother him and not give him a chance.
Yeah,
he took him right down.
Yeah, the MMA guy has the advantage. Even his shoes, he probably has better grip than the other guy on his shoes.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the Gracie challenges when
Right.
they would go to schools and challenge people,
Right.
they would just come in, kind of tap, and then smother.
Right.
And
You
that's
see,
what he did.
the thing here in the US is that they learn from it quick. So what happened? They started seeing grappling, they started learning wrestling, shoot fighting, and in whatever they could to be able to survive. Let's say if you were going into a fight with some of the Gracie guys,
Yeah.
And then later on, you started seeing even the Gracies getting choked on their own techniques.
Yeah, once they picked up on it.
Yeah.
But this probably raised a lot of eyebrows in China because they're very proud of their martial arts and they don't like looking bad.
No.
They don't want this guy to show them up.
Those arts have been there for many years. So when you have somebody come here and challenge you or accept a challenge, I mean, they're going to go full force with their art, what they practice, what they believe in. And probably the government's even backing them up, right? Because the martial arts keeps that culture. There's a lot of Chinese culture within martial arts.
Oh,
and
yeah. I mean, they probably promoted the hell out of this.
Yeah, I remember the other show we did. We did the show about Silam. Remember
Yes.
Okay, now she was doing the same thing, but she was putting a lot of the Aztec and Mayan and all this culture within the martial arts, so they would practice it to maintain that culture, the Aztec culture.
Right.
So they do the same thing in China. I mean, they're using the traditional probably nunchucks and a lot of weapons that they practice with. And that's what they used to use during the farming times, during the time where the samurais used to come and attack the Chinese, and that's the way they used to defend themselves. So they kept that tradition.
Yeah, well, this showed that tradition was very ineffective.
Yeah,
I mean, that definitely did not. So do you have another one? Is there another example?
Yeah, let me.
That guy is familiar though. I forget his name. Zhu or. He's got that guy he challenges a lot of people.
Okay, this is Tai Chi versus Muay Thai fighter, okay? Tai Chi guy is not wearing any gloves. I mean, all he's wearing is a cup. That's it. Not even a mouthpiece. No shoes.
Or what kind of fighting stance is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh, my money's on the Muay Thai guy.
Yeah, he's direct. He almost seems like he's using some sort of spear block. When he's fighting, like trying to, how you're practicing against weapons and the weapons go to your side, almost using a spear type of defense.
Well, I mean, the guys doing Tai Chi in the park, I've never seen them spar each other.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what kind of fighting stance that is. He really doesn't, he looks like he's a fish out of water. He doesn't know what to do.
I mean, even if you see the Muay Thai fighter, he's not the greatest Muay Thai fighter. I'm looking at his footwork and the way he's kicking. I mean, he's not the greatest Muay Thai fighter, but even with his skill, he's able to take care of the other guy.
Yeah. Well, the other guy, I think most of that was reactionary. I don't think it was a lot of technique in there.
No. He's just throwing in his basic jab rights, leg kick, going to the face kick. So it's very straightforward. If you look at Muay Thai fighters, it's very straightforward. It's really coming pretty much forward, be able to throw those jabs, those rights. They're coming in with elbows and
right.
kicks, and you looked at the Tai Chi guy, I mean, even his stance was wrong. Even though when they're practicing breathing, stance, but it's not as practical as when you practice with another partner and you're actually, punching with each other, learning how to parry, how to, strike back, how to be able to kick. And you didn't see that there because the Tai Chi guy doesn't have that practice.
No, I mean, it's a little frustrating just because part of me wants to see a Tai Chi technique that actually could defend against that. Just something,
right.
just something that actually worked, that he caught the kick and did something, but it really does, it makes it almost look ridiculous. I mean,
Right.
In comparison, the Muay Thai guy looked ready for battle.
I think we just needed Keanu Reeves in that ring. As Tai Chi master.
John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick. I know he did a Tai Chi movie, right?
Well, look, there was I think his name was Earl Montague. I think it was a version of Tai Chi that was it was Dim Mak, which I guess is a branch of Tai Chi, and it was all pressure point striking.
Really?
And he talked about, I remember in one of his videos, he talked about the lizard brain, that like when you get into combat mode, you kind of have to turn your brain on to lizard mode, which is like more primal, and you can barely talk when you're in it, and you're just kind of out of yourself, and you're more of a wild animal. That would have really helped. I mean, just to see something that hinted at that would have been nice. But this just, again, makes Tai Chi, not to knock Tai Chi, but definitely doesn't look combat ready.
It doesn't. And again, it's because of it's a traditional martial arts, and they're not, they're being left behind pretty much to be able to it's not it almost seems like it's not a combat sport anymore. It's almost staying like, okay, Tai Chi is for flexibility, for breathing, but it doesn't seem like it's a very practical fighting art.
No, it does not at all. Just a demonstration. Good for fitness. Good for, probably like meditation and mental training, but not good for.
But I bet you if that guy would have said, you know what, I'm a Tai Chi fighter, but he had some experience of Muay Thai fighting or boxing or anything like that, his stance would have changed. It wouldn't have looked like that. It would have looked different. It would have been a different fight. But it's important to have some knowledge of those arts, so you're not left in the dark. Let's say
you got to be able to adapt.
Yeah, you have to adapt to it because if you're fighting your fight and your fight is not working, you have to adapt to their fight or become better than what they're doing.
I mean, you know, they say like, you know, the Aikido that Steven Seagal would demonstrate in the movies, he would add a combat element, but pure Aikido is not really combat ready either because there's no, you know, it's a yin yang thing. There's just, you know, there's no winner or loser. It's always just a harmony between the faller and the attacker.
Right.
You know,
But when you see the movies, you know, it looks like it works.
oh yeah, well yeah, it's breaking. It's more Hapkido-ish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. More attacking. But anyway, those are the only two videos that I have. I mean, I wanted to put another one, but I think that's good enough. But you know, I think the important thing about watching something like this and it's learning from it. Because you still see a lot of people following, let's say, wanting to learn certain traditional martial arts, which is Tai Chi or Wing Chun or, you know, so many arts, right? But it's some of the concepts are good, but don't stay stuck there. Even Hapkido, Aikido, and all those traditional Korean martial arts, don't just stay with the actual techniques. You still have to go out of the box and be able to get some more techniques and to bring into your art. I mean, for me, I always say this: Hapkido is my base. You know, that's where I grew my roots. You know, but at the same time, I went out there. I actually I went out to compete. I saw the difference in knowing just Hapkido and the difference in knowing a little bit of boxing and knowing a little bit of kickboxing, knowing a little bit of grappling. It makes a big difference when
Well,
you're
it's about fight effectiveness. I mean, you know,
right.
it depends what your goal is. If your
Right.
goal is, you know, you got to recognize, you know, martial art for what it is, and if you want to be like practical and effective, I mean, that's where styles like Krav Maga really shine because they live in that intense fight or flight type of situation
Right.
where, you know, that kind of training, that's in the ring, that's on the street, you know, training, you know, karate or, you know, any kind of martial art, just for the techniques and the discipline. I mean, that's all great by itself. But if you want to be effective on the street, you have to adjust and you have to adapt and you have to be able to mix it up.
Yeah, because there is some reaction time and speed and all these things that work for you if you practice the other arts versus not practicing them. And if somebody is going to jump you in the street and you don't have those reactions, you've never had the experience of actually hitting somebody or having somebody, you know, try to hit you, you know, you're going to get yourself in a lot of danger in the streets because
Exactly. It's
you're
like
not
learning knife and
good.
expecting never to get cut. You know what
Right,
I mean?
right.
It's just
And
like you're
grab,
gonna get
remember,
cut.
remember you met, like, remember on the Gracie show that we had, when they used to have the Gracie challenges? I mean, you saw all these martial artists trying to fight with them, and once they went to the floor, they couldn't do anything because they did not know what to do.
They didn't know what to do. Yeah.
No,
It's a
but
whole new
now they
world.
do. I mean, now they do. Now you see, you know, now you see a little bit more competition now because now they know some of the techniques. Now they know how to defend themselves. Now they know because now you're more aware. You see, and I think our video right now, it's creating that awareness. And I don't know, it's 2020, and this has been going on for many years. And there's a lot of martial artists out there who are still not aware that they need to be looking at not just their one art. They have to keep looking at other arts so they could get in tune with what's going on right now.
Which is why the mixed martial arts are thriving. I mean, they've become a very popular thing. Although people, the only caveat to mixed martial arts is people don't go very deep in any one aspect. They kind of
Right.
round themselves out just enough to get by in the octagon, but they don't
Right.
really master anything. And there's, you know, when you look at the art, you know, the martial artists like Masoyama or, you know, those really traditional guys who
Yeah.
just spent lifetimes doing one thing, you know, you know, which is kind of like those Chinese arts, you know, they, you know, to them, it's like, well, if I spend a lifetime practicing one thing till I perfected it, that should prevail in any fighting situation, which
Yeah.
not necessarily.
Yeah. I'm sure if Masoyama or any of the Kyokushin fighters would fight a grappler, if they don't know any grappling and they're caught in the floor, they're not going to know what to do.
Yeah, well, like, keep in mind,
the same thing with a grappler. If he doesn't know how strong their strike is, and they don't know how to measure their distance, they're going to get knocked out too.
Yeah, well, the thing about grapplers, as great as they are on the ground, I mean, Bill Superfoot Wallace said, all fights start on your feet.
There you go.
So it is helpful to have a good,
Yeah, no, you have to have a good stance, be a stand-up fighter, learn both.
Shinkai guys do.
So it's important, guys. Just stay aware, and that's pretty much it for a show. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, so you get notifications of our show. You can always reach me at LAMArtialArt@gmail.com. Where can they reach you, Steve?
You can find me at Water Productions on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
There you go, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful. And keep on kicking, guys. Keep practicing, okay? See ya.